The conflict of love and faith. Banaras in Jagannath Shastri, an extraordinary love story. Panditrai in Lavanji, to the story of a remarkable scholar from South India during the Mughal era. His love for a Muslim girl was so profound that it even humbled an emperor, and his devotion to Sanatana Dharma was so deep that he ultimately surrendered himself to the sacred Ganga. This story of love, sacrifice, and devotion is bound to move you to tears, so listen to it in its entirety. This is the tale of Pandit Jagannath Shastri Telling, a brilliant scholar from the early 17th century. During this time, the Mughal Empire was at its peak, ruled by Emperor Shah Jahan, who was renowned for his patronage of arts and literature. The grandeur of his court attracted the most distinguished scholars from across the world. In the distant south, along the banks of the Godavari River, there existed a small independent kingdom ruled by King Chandradev. In his court served an exceptionally talented scholar named Pandit Jagannath Shastri Telan. Despite being only 23 years old, his intellect surpassed that of many seasoned scholars. His poetry was so exquisite that it seemed as though goddess Saraswati herself resided on his tongue, and when he spoke of philosophy, it felt like Lord Krishna himself was speaking through him. His fame spread far and wide, reaching even the Mughal court. At that time, the dominance of Islamic scholars, or Maulvis, in Delhi was unchallenged. They could not tolerate the growing renown of a Hindu scholar like Jagannath. Thus, with the emperor's permission, 40 Maulvis traveled to Chandradev's court to challenge him in a debate. The stakes were high. If the Maulvis lost, they would surrender their beards, and if Jagannath lost, he would have to shave off his sacred Brahmin tafshika. Confident in his knowledge, Jagannath accepted the challenge. The debate began, and as expected, his profound understanding of Sanatana Dharma left the Maulvis speechless. Eventually, the Maulvis admitted defeat and shaved their beards as promised before returning to Delhi. A few days later, an envoy from the Mughal court arrived with a message from Emperor Shah Jahan, requesting King Chandradev to send Jagannath to the Mughal court. Being a small ruler, Chandradev could not defy the emperor's decree, and thus, Jagannath had to leave for Delhi. In the Mughal court, he was received with great honor. His presence added to the court's prestige, and he soon became a tutor to Shah Jahan's eldest son, Prince Dara Shikoh. Under Jagannath's guidance, the prince developed a deep appreciation for Hindu philosophy, delving into the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. It was during these lessons that love blossomed in Jagannath's life. Among his students was an 18-year-old woman of unparalleled beauty, Lavanji. She had been raised by Empress Mumtaz Mahal after her parents had perished in an accident. Lavanji, too, was learning Sanskrit and grammar. Over time, Jagannath found himself drawn to Lavanji's mesmerizing beauty, while she, too, was enchanted by his radiant intellect and strong presence. Their secret glances soon turned into deep admiration and, eventually, love. One day, Jagannath gathered the courage to ask Dara Shikoh about Lavanji's identity. The prince revealed that she was like a sister to him, raised within the royal household. Their love grew stronger, but they were well aware of the obstacles different religions, societal norms, and the dangers posed by the Mughal court. Yet, their hearts refused to surrender to these barriers. One evening, in a rare moment of solitude, Jagannath took Lavanji into his embrace and vowed to be with her forever. Lavanji, though hesitant, could not resist his love, and the two pledged their lives to each other. Soon, fate intervened. Dara Shikoh had to leave for Hyderabad, and he instructed Lavanji not to attend the study sessions during his absence. This separation tormented the lovers, but they longed for a chance to see each other again. One day, Jagannath found Lavanji alone in the guest chamber. As moonlight streamed through the window, highlighting her delicate face, he could not resist his emotions. Holding her close, he whispered, "Lavanji, you are my life. Every moment without you feels like an eternity." Overwhelmed, Lavanji responded, "Jagannath, without you, I am a living corpse. But how long can we continue to meet like this in secrecy? If Prince Dara Shikoh finds out, he will never forgive us." Jagannath reassured her, promising that he would soon ask for her hand in marriage. He was determined to defy societal norms for their love. Days passed, and Jagannath's fame as a poet and scholar reached new heights. One day, in a grand gathering, Emperor Shah Jahan was so impressed with his poetic recitation that he offered him anything he desired. At that moment, Jagannath glanced at Lavanji, standing in a corner, her eyes filled with hope. With unwavering courage, he declared, "Your Majesty, if you truly wish to grant me a favor, I ask for Lavanji's hand in marriage." The court fell silent. Shah Jahan, though taken aback, was a man of his word. He hesitated but then said, "Pandit Raj, we never go back on our word. But think carefully, will your society accept a Mughal woman as your wife? Will you not face rejection from your people?" Jagannath stood firm, declaring, "Love transcends caste, religion, and society. Lavanji is my soulmate, and I fear no opposition." Shah Jahan, seeing the determination in his eyes, consented to their marriage. For a while, the couple lived happily. Jagannath composed two masterpieces, Bhavini Vilas, a lyrical poetry collection on love, and Ras Gangadhar, a scholarly treatise on aesthetics. However, their peace was short-lived. One fateful night, chaos erupted in the Mughal palace. Shah Jahan's ambitious son, Aurangzeb, staged a coup, imprisoning his father and executing Dara Shikoh. Jagannath was warned that his association with Shah Jahan made him a target. Fleeing through the back gate, he and Lavanji escaped on a boat down the Yamuna, eventually seeking refuge in Mathura and then in Varanasi. But Varanasi, the eternal city, was not so welcoming. The rigid Brahmin community refused to accept Jagannath for marrying a Muslim woman. Despite his unmatched scholarship, he faced rejection at every turn. The pain of this social ostracization tormented him. In a final act of devotion, he dedicated himself entirely to the divine. Unable to bear the humiliation, he is said to have offered himself to the sacred waters of the Ganges. His love story, one of courage and sacrifice, remains immortal. This is the tale of Pandit Jagannath Shastri telling in Lavanji a love that defied empires, but was ultimately forsaken by society. This translation keeps the essence and depth of the original story while making it engaging for an English-speaking audience. Would you like any modifications or refinements?